We're live, so be careful with your confession.
Just in time for your confession.
This is my confession. I was going to make a gin and tonic, and then I brushed my teeth. And I thought,
ooh, yeah.
I thought,
Can't do it.
It's not that I don't want to drink the gin and tonic with the minty fresh mouth. That I would be fine with. It was more, I didn't want to brush my teeth a second time.
Yeah.
It's just laziness.
100%. Like my laziness apparently was greater than my love of alcohol tonight.
Oh, well, that's good.
Like,
I get that so
not
much.
brushing my teeth again.
That's a sign you do not have a problem, or you have a different kind of problem.
A lazy problem.
Well, while you get your glasses, I will do kind of an intro so that we have an intro when this is on the podcast.
Write an intro.
So welcome to the Mom and ... podcast. We are on the Tipsy Ellipses Facebook Live. I think I did that sentence wrong. Once a month, we do a Facebook Live version called Tipsy Ellipses. I am the only one who is kind of tipsy with my Irma Bombeck Writers Conference wine glass conference. Was postponed till October.
Which takes some of the fun out of it.
Oh my God. Did I tell you? Well, no. Do you remember the first time we went? Actually, that's how Missy, is that how we met, or is that the Mom?
That was our first conference, I think.
I think that was our first hotel room together.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the first time we spent the night together.
That was also like one of the first nights that we knew each other. But so we shared a hotel room, and everybody at the Irma Bombeck conference on the last night got these wine glasses that you got to take home. And we put them out. Maybe it wasn't the last night because the housekeeping came the next day and took all our wine glasses. Mm-hmm. Like, I think they just thought they were the hotel wine glasses. And I was all, where. And I think I posted something like a little sad face on it about, Facebook or something the next day. And then like a week later from the Irma Bombeck conference, they mailed me one. And it was so sweet that they did that. But then the next year, people just kept on giving me their wine glasses. So I came home with like I have like a set for a party. Setting. Yeah, I do.
I was really hoping that where you were going with this story was that you stole them off the housekeeping cart and you just got like a whole service for 12.
No,
because they had been collecting them.
No, that is a good idea. But no, I used to be a housekeeping person at a hotel my senior year of high school. So I tip my hat and have the highest respect and would never steal anything from their carts because I know what a pain in the patootie it is to have to go refill that thing if it's way at the end of the hall. So no, I wouldn't. I didn't finish my introduction though. Tipsy Ellipses.
We got sidetracked with our glasses.
I specifically got sidetracked. So we are having our Tipsy Ellipses, which is our live recording. The podcast will air this week. Sometime this week. But today I'm so excited to have Abby Mathews with us. Wave, Abby.
I'm waving, not that you can see it on a podcast, but
well, yes, I know.
We have two people watching, so they can see you.
Oh, there you go. It's probably our moms. But so just as a little, even though we're a little more loosey-goosey on our Facebook Live episode, I am going to give her a proper intro that Abby was the host of the Mom Writes podcast. She just disclosed to us that she has 4 unaired episodes that we are going to make her figure out her password at Blueberry so that she can release. She's also a middle grade writer and a social media manager for Happy Writer and a former teacher and a current hobby farmer, misfit animal rescuer, which is the reason that you came up most recently. I gotta say, we talk about you a lot on the podcast.
We talk about Mom Writes a ton. I would say it comes up at minimum once a month.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
We have a problem. Poor Abby. I do have a problem because that's how we met, is just I was a really enthusiastic fan of the podcast
/ stalker.
I was gonna say you play it fast and loose with like who you spend the night with, because I think I had known you like a hot minute, and I pretty much invited myself to stay at your house overnight.
Yes, and you did, and I got to explain to my kids about how we don't invite strangers to our house.
I was going to say, like, hey kids, don't talk to strangers.
She's not a stranger.
This one worked out okay. But.
It's all fine. It's all fine until she started trying to pawn off one of her exotic birds on my daughter. It was all fine. But that is where you came up. Oh gosh, it was probably like 4 episodes ago where we were talking about finding our voice and getting the courage to speak up. And I guess of the strength of our values, if somebody kind of says something that not triggers us, but that is against something that we believe in. So someone was telling Missy how much they hated birds.
Yeah, they were saying birds are gross, like, oh, gross. And I thought, normal me. I mean, and this was a friendly, funny conversation. It was not an antagonistic thing. But normally, because it was a friendly, funny conversation, I would have been like, oh, yeah, whatever, birds are gross. But I thought, you know what? Birds are not gross. I mean, some of them are, but I love birds. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to say, like, I love birds. So if you want to give me a bird themed gift or a bird, like, that would be great. And of course, my friend was like, I hope you never find a place to house a bird. I do not think you need a bird. No birds.
Well, let me just speak up and say that those two things are not mutually exclusive. Birds can be gross and you can still love them.
Yeah.
Because I am going to say that, yes, indeed, they are gross.
They're really messy.
They're very messy. They're very smelly, but also I love them terribly. So they're like children. Children are messy and gross, and we love them anyway. Right?
Exactly.
Sure.
Well, and then
we had a parakeet growing up, and he was so messy. Oh my God, he just.
Did they just kick stuff, or is it like their food or is it poop? Yeah,
and poop, all of it. It's all everywhere. I should have, but why didn't I bring a bird on this episode, you guys?
What?
I mean, it would take me 2 seconds to get a bird.
Okay, well, in a moment,
when it's time, like when you're ready, we'll go get a bird. You're and Suzanne and I'll stay here.
Because I have never seen Sweet Pea, and that is what came up actually in the podcast episode when I was trying to do justice and could not to the story of Sweet Pea, who you adopted from a couple who apparently was having some marriage issues. Was the woman's name Barbara? For some reason I was screaming Barbara. Is it Barbara?
Okay, you got the Barbara part right. We have no idea what their names are. Because they did not disclose any of this information.
Well, apparently one of them's named Barbara.
I think somebody was named Barbara.
They called me Barbara quite a few times. Or she. Sweet Pea was a she. So poor Sweet Pea has actually... So this is one of those things that's hard. Like speaking up for yourself is hard. Sometimes I think doing what's best for an animal in your care is also very hard. And so we love Sweet Pea. But I will tell you this much. Macaws are not meant to be pets. They make terrible pets. And they make terrible pets because oftentimes they have needs that we as humans can't fulfill. And let me just say, Sweet Pea had hit the point where she needed a mate, which made her very aggressive and very territorial. And she was stealing things from around the house and sitting on them like they were eggs.
That makes me sad.
It does. It makes me sad too. And so, we agonized over it for a really long time. But ultimately, I'm lucky enough to be friends with a series of people who are in different rescue organizations. And actually, it was my tortoise rescue friend.
Your tortoise rescue
knew someone.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was just like, okay, fine. We're going to branch into macaws.
No, he said to me, I know someone who has a macaw sanctuary. That's all they have is macaws. They have a ton of macaws and they will not adopt her out anywhere. Like this bird is going to essentially her last home. They don't allow visitors in, it wasn't like a zoo or anything. And it was out in the middle of nowhere. And beautiful. And I was like, that's what this bird needs is she needs to be around other macaws. And I'll tell you what I was not going to do. And that was get another macaw. So
I'm this part of me sweet macaw love all over your house.
Oh my God. Can you imagine what that would sound like? Let me just say macaws scream to salute the sun in the morning and to salute the moon in the evening. And I can only imagine what it would sound like when they were having sex. So
I bet a quick Google search could find that answer.
Probably.
Also get you flagged on some kind of list.
Bound to.
Okay, so Sweet Pea is no longer in your home. Okay, so when you say
it's quiet.
Well, so when you say you could go grab a bird, how many choices do you have currently?
Okay, well, it depends on what kind of bird you would like to see. There are several at my disposal right now.
In the home?
I have a chicken with a cold. that's in the
Aw.
garage. I
How can you
have
tell when a chicken has a cold?
he's got an eye kind of like this. Like usually their eyes get goopy and closed, and he's sneezing and coughing, so much like a human.
Does
And
he have
he's
COVID?
I don't know what the hell he has, but I feel for him. He seems
Yeah.
miserable. So
He
Oh.
doesn't feel good.
he's on the bird version of Vicks Vapor Rub right
Okay.
now, and he is having some resting time. In the
Okay. We will
garage.
not disturb. We will not
yeah, we won't
disturb the chicken
He's
with the
super
cold.
cute though. I do have cockatiel.
Yeah,
over
that's the
here,
newest one, isn't it?
birdie. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then I have a lovebird, and I think I have a dozen baby chickens that are dinosaur age, so not little.
Oh yeah, they're just
also-
that awkward
they're just
teenage phase.
ugly.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
so bad. They're
Ugly.
so ugly then.
So
Oh.
ugly.
I had a chicken for a while. Again, I think I've mentioned it before. His name was Fluffy Eyes-Out of Spree, so I bet you can all
Oh,
guess
that's
about
so
what
80s.
what
That
year that was.
chicken.
That's so 80s.
I know.
Is
Oh,
spree. I
I
mean, there's
know.
a word at a store I haven't thought of in a
That
long
was like,
time.
was
Spree.
Benetton an alternate choice? Because I feel like that would be right
That
around
probably
the
would have
same.
been, but you know what? I grew up in Idaho, and I don't think
No
we did not.
Benetton.
We didn't
You
even have an
didn't have it.
Esprit store. It was like there were a few Esprit items in this section of the Bon Marché, which is now Macy's.
Yeah.
So I don't even think we had Benetton as an option in the Bon Marché. So no, Fluffy. It was Izod because we had the Izod. Remember when we used to do the two Izods?
Right.
And
Flip
you
your
pop the
collars,
collar.
layer them.
And then maybe a Argyle vest on top of it if you were feeling really cool.
The
Nice.
height of fashion.
I know. Yeah.
Nice.
So yes, I did have my chicken during that phase. The poor Fluffy. He did not go to a sanctuary. He went to someone who I'm pretty sure ate him because he lived at my friend's house. It was a farm, and that was then discovered that he was a rooster.
Oh,
So he went somewhere else.
he went to a nice farm in the country.
He went to go live at a farm in the country.
Yeah.
Aside from this farm in the country. So yes.
Mhm. Well, I would say get whichever bird you think most wants to be on a podcast. Whichever one.
Probably the sick chicken would be the most amiable if we're just being super honest. Would you like me to go get the sick chicken?
Part of me does and
get
part
him,
of me
poor baby
doesn't. But
chicken.
yes, I feel like we need it. We need
Okay.
it. Okay, we'll just talk amongst ourselves.
That's I was going to say what it verklempt discuss.
Yeah.
What is that guy says?
We'll
Discuss
talk
amongst yourselves. Yeah.
Okay.
What can we talk about, Missy? You know what? While Abby's gone, I'm going to actually give a few of her links because I bet we're going to forget later. So
And run out of
if you
time,
want to follow up with Abby, it's abbymathews.org, and it's ABBY, and Mathews is MATHEWS.org. And her Twitter is at Abby Mathews, and her Instagram is at Shuttamother, which I really want to get some more explanation on, but it's SHUTTAMUTHA. Okay, now the chicken with the cold has returned, and Abby's returned too.
I'm sick fiddle at this point. Yeah, see his little eye is kind of sad and closed.
Oh, sweet buddy. Hi, chicken.
Hi, friend. You're gonna sneeze for us? Let me get you really close to the microphone, which is now gross because then I'm gonna have to change that little
your pop
foamy
guard
pad,
or whatever.
yeah. You want to just can you say something for us, buddy? No word.
Oh,
My
see,
chicken is
Sweet Pea would have been able to say something.
She would have had some choice words for you.
Yeah, Barbara.
Whoever
My
Barbara
dad-
was caused Sweet Pea a lot of trouble.
Now, did Sweet Pea ever ever feel like in a safe place enough to stop with her foul mouth, or was it just so ingrained in her at that point?
Oh, I think it was so ingrained at that point. There was no turning back. And so I mean, we tried to teach her how to say nice things, except for Sean did attempt to try and get her anytime someone came into the house. He wanted to train her to say hide the drugs because he thought that would be hilarious.
Oh
And
my
our children were
God.
like, no, Dad.
Oh my
No.
God.
So
That is
she
pretty
didn't
good.
like that.
Oh my gosh, Abby, I could talk to you about your crazy pets all day,
For
but there's other
sure.
things that you do with your life
I know. I want
besides
to talk about happy
bringing home birds.
writers. Yeah,
Oh,
happy
yeah.
writer.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Should I
Okay.
put the
Yeah.
chicken away or is he allowed to stay?
I mean, he can stay as long
If
as
he's
you're comfortable
happy.
with your chicken.
He's cool. He's on my, if he poops on me, it wouldn't be the first time.
Okay. No,
So.
yeah, that we don't want to disrupt him any more than he's been disrupted.
Probably happy for a cuddle.
Oh.
When
I
you
can
feel
hear
bad, it's
him
kind of
just like,
nice.
oh.
Oh,
Oh, here comes Sean. He'll take the chicken back.
Sure.
Okay, he looked at me like, no, thank you.
I actually don't want to do chicken work right now.
He's in his pajamas.
Oh, so am I, Sean. It's okay.
I'm in my pajama pants
Oh.
and basically a pajama shirt.
Did you get your chicken taken away?
Mhm.
Okay. So, okay, we're talking about Happy Writer.
Yeah.
Yes. What would you like to know about Happy Writer?
Well, how did you get plugged in with Happy Writer? Like, tell people how where
And
that's
what
connected.
is Happy
and-
Writer for
yeah.
people who do not know?
So Happy Writer is, we're kind of still a startup company. We still consider ourselves to be a first draft right now.
Mhm.
But we're a writing community for obviously writers, not editors. I need one of those when I speak sometimes. But we're a writing community and we offer free classes a couple times a month. We have a lot of really cool book coaches and authors that come in and do talks. We've had a publicist come in and do a talk. We would really like to get a couple of agents to come in. Yeah, so that's kind of our community aspect, but we are getting ready to launch a coaching wing. So we
Ooh,
actually just kind of
that's cool.
soft launched, and part of our idea is we feel like there are a lot of writers who are sort of getting left behind because they're very talented, but they might not have hundreds or thousands of dollars to pump into coaching, but they still need quality feedback. They still need somebody to help them with the project management, to tell them what to do next. They still need a piece of this. And so we are looking for a way to make that more affordable for more writers. And we're looking at doing it two ways. One, we have a really basic entry level coaching package that you can add on other services so that you can customize it. You're only paying for what it is that you feel like you need. So that's one piece, but the other piece is we're kind of doing some group coaching mastermind sort of work where it's a combination of having a cohort or a small group that you bond with, that you learn from, but then also you're getting individualized feedback on your work. And so you're getting to learn from other writers' feedback, your feedback.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now. It's a work in progress, but
Yeah. I
That's
took a
so
class
cool.
2 weeks ago, maybe with KJ,
oh yeah,
who we also talk about on this podcast all the
Yes,
time.
we
And it was
do.
fantastic. Like,
I
it's a
grabbed my
great
book.
format and I loved it. And so
Yeah.
I signed up, but I haven't taken the next steps yet of like completing my profile or doing any of that.
you should, because the other piece is we have an app now. And I mean, the app is, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a huge pain in my ass because there's always something that's going wrong with the app. And I'm not a tech person. Brian is a tech person, but we've kind of hit the limits of his technical know-how now. And we're going to have to find a professional to solve some of our problems. But the great thing is we do have an app that's a bit like Facebook for writers. And so part of what we wanted to do was to be able to give writers a way to use social media that was more productive rather than the black hole dumpster fire of Twitter and Facebook. So
I just gotta chill.
basically, like, writers come in and we share about like, oh, what we're writing, what we're doing, we're having this problem. Have you ever done this? Have you seen this class? Have you read this book? You know, it's everything. When you go to your news feed in Happy Writer, absolutely everything is about writing. You're not wading through pictures of somebody's lunch or political rants or this or that. It's like, it's very focused. And so it does feel more productive. And the people who are using that element of Happy Writer, because we have 1,000 writers right now, but 1,000 people aren't using the news feed, the app portion. But those who are, I'm finding I can see the friendships forming. I can see those relationships forming. And I think that's super important because, I mean, none of us are writing books in a vacuum. I mean,
Yeah.
I just finished my first draft of a middle grade book that I co-wrote with a friend of mine, Jeff. And we had a nice long Zoom call. He and I can't seem to Zoom for like less than 4 hours. And so
we can relate to that.
yeah. So yesterday we were Zooming and we were sort of wrapping up our stuff before we send it to the book to our editor. And we were like, oh, we're months away from getting an agent. And I'm like, oh, I know we are, Jeff. Like, this is going to be what propels our careers, But I started, because we were having that conversation, I started thinking like, who am I going to thank in my dedication? So like this morning, I'm walking around like cleaning up breakfast and I'm thinking about all of the people who helped me essentially get to the point where I am. And I realized that list was really freaking long.
Awesome.
And so, none of us are doing this alone. If it takes a village to raise your kids, it also takes a village to like make a book. And so,
but I think you may actually be an outlier, at least a really fortunate person. I think a lot of people are pretty solitary in their pursuit of writing that don't, because you're a very extroverted writer. You are an extroverted writer, but I do
and you seem to be a we're really struggling with our words tonight, Suzanne.
Well, Tipsy Ellipses.
Like
and I have been in paint.
You're inclusive. You're one of the, you're a gatherer of people. What am I trying to say?
Yes, you are. You are a connector. You are a connector.
That's the word I was looking for. See?
That's why we work together.
I do like people, but think about this. All right. Think about, even if you don't have a big social writers network, you have support from your family. So they're on there. I mean, if you're really lucky, not everybody's husband or spouse supports them in the same way. I know that mine does.
Yeah.
But you have an editor. Sometimes you have more than one editor. You're eventually going to have a copy editor. You're going to probably have a publicist at some point. You're going to have somebody that you work with as far as the design of your book. I mean, there's all sorts of things. And you can bootstrap that. Yeah. But I mean, there are a lot of professionals out there who can take your book to a level that you can't necessarily do yourself. And when you all put your heads together to make something happen, I mean, I think you can have a really great product if you allow yourself to let other people into your process.
Yeah. And I think happy writer, I mean, that is the difference between a writer and a happy writer, is having that community. And I think a lot of people just don't. And this is such a lovely way of, even for people who maybe that isn't their natural personality or tendency, that allows them to like feel that community and maybe squeak out of that shell a little bit. And I really think that, I mean, that's why I like the happy and the happy writer, because I really think that is what makes the process more joyous and happy, is when you don't feel so alone and that you do feel like you've got this support. So I love that.
And it keeps you coming back to the page.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, nobody writes when it's a miserable struggle. That's when you say, oh, I have writer's block. I just can't write. But when you're enjoying the ride, you're going to show up and you're going to put your butt in the chair and you're going to do your work.
Yes. Well, you know what? I accidentally showed up. And then as soon as I got there, I read the part that said it's for fiction writers. And I was like, whoopee doopie. I'll just hide back here. I'll send some notes to my husband.
You might write fiction one day.
But I did. There were some people in there talking about nonfiction stuff. Oh God, no! I worship y'all because my brain cannot even fathom the idea of writing fiction. I think about it and it's kind of like me trying to think about how cell phones work or how I think about it for a second and then like too much. So no. Nonfiction for this job.
Well, if people are looking for the app, where do they go? What's the best?
So the app is in. You can go to either the App Store with Apple or the App Store with Google Play. It's on both platforms, and you just search Happy Writer. And when it comes up, you can actually sign up for an account right from the App Store. So you don't have to even go to the website unless you want to. I will say the website has much more functionality and you might enjoy the experience better, but you can't necessarily scroll it when you're in the bathroom. So, you know.
So, and it's happywriter.co, right?
.co, yes, not .com, because I refuse to let Brian spend the extra $2,000 on an M. So it's like,
oh my gosh, no, okay, but yes, you were going to tell us about Brian though.
Oh, and he has his own podcast for writers. If you like writing podcasts, his is called How Writers Write, and he has an MFA from NYU, so he has a lot of connections that I don't have. And he likes to use those connections to get super famous people to come and talk to him. Unlike when I asked Danielle Steele to come on my podcast once and got a very lovely rejection note from her assistant that reminded me that she hasn't spoken in public since like the 80s.
Oh my
And I was
goodness.
like, oh.
Well, maybe this is where she wants to like come back.
I wrote back and said, are you sure she doesn't want to come teach me how to write a kissing scene? Though I think she is the perfect person to teach me how to do that.
Oh, that was one of my favorite episodes. And Melanie, oh my God, Melanie, we got to talk a little bit about Mel, because she was on the Mom Writes podcast, your partner in crime, and sometimes kind of a partner in crime, because I love how intense she would take, like if she needed to research a scene where there was like a truck speeding away, like she would take a truck out and like, let's see what happens when you kick it to this speed. Let's do this. And she was like, I just love her.
It's so funny you say that, because so I was talking to one of the writers at Happy Writer the other day, and he was talking to me about podcasting, and he was interested in starting a podcast himself, but he wasn't really sure what he would start his podcast about. And he's a thriller writer and he's a doctor, right? And so I was like, dude, okay, think about all this shit you've had to research to write a book. I was like, and you write thrillers. So you've probably, I don't know, acted out some stuff while you were in the course of trying to figure out like the physicality of a scene or something. I said, listen, my friend Mel, once she had like a sack of potatoes and a car on an old dirt road, and she was trying to figure out if she peeled out and did a U-turn, like with the back door fly shut, if she didn't have it closed. I was like, oh my God, you would have the best podcast if you just interviewed writers about weird stuff that they'd researched. And he was like,
that'd be so fun.
I know. Well, and here, maybe we should just steal this idea and the three of us
we
start
should.
She's not going to take
my
a
husband
run
should
at it.
do it. My
oh
husband
my God, Chris and I could do it. I'm going to cut you two out of the equation now.
No, Chris does the most amazing research.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like his first book that he wrote, Crash Alive. I'm going to mess up about a million things, but it had this idea of this secret society that meets outside of San Francisco in the forest there, and they do all these weird, mysterious things. And one of the readers that read it, you know, before he published it, he self-published it, was like, I don't think this part is believable, blah, 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 blah. He's like, no, that's literally true. Like all these people who've become presidents and like who are on the Supreme Court and weird stuff, like do this. They're part of this society,
this
where
weird
they're
secret
working.
society.
And like seriously, like 2 months later, it was it Anthony Scalia died at like the secret society thing. It was that. It was that.
Crazy.
And I was like, dude, you got to work this into some promotion things as far as like.
Okay, so we got a podcast, because the other day I spent hours researching. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Albert Einstein's phone number, and I frickin' found it.
You did not.
I did.
What?
I did.
How did you know it was right?
Okay, so, well,
Voicemail?
I mean, according to the internet.
The internet said it is.
So I found his phone number. Like, this is how nitpicky I was getting, though. All right. So I found his phone number when he was at the university in Berlin. It's 2807, in case you were wondering. But what I really wanted was his phone number from 1932 when he was teaching in the physics department at Caltech. and I could not find his exact extension. So I went to the Caltech library online and I started digging to see if I could find what the extension was for the physics department, thinking that in my book, you could just dial it and then ask for Albert Einstein. And so anyway, I did all of this research and I wasn't able to find his number at Caltech. And so next on my list is I'm going to freaking call Caltech and ask them because, librarians love that shit.
Oh, they know that for sure.
That's what they do.
That's like their password, I'm sure, for their library systems.
Oh, I'm totally changing that to be my garage code, though. If anybody ever wants to break into my house, it's going to be Albert Einstein's phone number, just so you know.
I love it.
My new debit card number.
So you got it, though?
No, I haven't called Caltech yet. I have Berlin.
Okay.
I can call Berlin. 2807.
Okay, so if anybody out there is a librarian at Caltech listening to this,
I'm trying to think if we know anybody. I don't think we know anybody.
Oh my God. But no, I mean, even the places you go research, like when Chris goes to London, he'll go and make sure that he knows like exactly where certain streets are and what you would be seeing from there. And it's amazing. Yeah.
I think we've all read a book before where you know the place and you're like, I don't think that's right. I think that's how that is. And it's nice to read a book that's really well researched.
Oh my God. And writers would love to talk about that because no one appreciates it. They're like, probably want full credit for like, I did this. I did it.
Yeah. You nerd out with your family and they just glaze over because they're like,
what'd you do today, Mom? Listen to what I did. They're like, what else did you do? My laundry? I need underwear.
Sean's like, do we have dinner?
Nope, but I know Albert Einstein's number.
His exact words to me today were, when I only cooked half of what I was going to make for dinner, he looked at me and he's like, you were pretty unavailable today, weren't you? And I said, yes, I was. I was
unavailable. I like that. I'm going to use that. I'm unavailable.
It's a nice way of saying, what the hell? Where's half of my meal?
You'll be all right. Have cereal for the other half.
Yeah, he'll fix it. It'll be good. Oh my gosh. Oh, that I love. Okay. So I'm very excited about the Happy Writer. That is like the perfect fit for you. You said you have 4 of your old podcasts left that you may or may not release if you can find the login and password. Any more podcasts in your future except for the one that you're going to do with my husband, apparently?
Yeah, just the one. He doesn't know it yet, but you can fill him in.
He's on board.
I'll let him know. Yeah, he'll be fine. He's probably had a bourbon by now. We're good.
Okay.
I can talk him into anything. Oh my God. You should see this poor man. Oh, he puts up with so much stuff from me, but the one thing that he likes is just a little bit of order in our lives. And our bedroom, I'm not sure if you've seen on my Instagram that it has just been for probably a week now. And I think it's been a week of me being like, one more night, and it's all back to normal. But this paint will just not take. I'm painting over dark brown. And so it's like 3 layers of primer. And then the primer, you have to wait 24 hours before you can do the paint. And that's just like a whole thing. And we call it the crib because it literally looks like a crib. We've pushed all of our furniture up against our bed. So you kind of have to hop into it like you're a toddler getting in your crib. And I think he's about 12 and a half hours from just either divorcing me or just refusing to come back inside. And there's so many paint fumes. Poor Missy's been hearing about it all day because I just keep forgetting words. And Zoe doesn't want me to drive her to school. Oh yeah, Zoe does not want me to drive her to school anymore. Today I like totally missed a stop. She's like, are you almost done painting? Like, are you scary? Oh, I know.
Scary.
I know.
Well, today wasn't a good day to paint because the humidity level was
because
100.
I couldn't open the windows.
Right.
I couldn't open the windows. So now I'm like hotboxed in the paint. And
so wait, what's the weather like in Texas? Because it's been freaking frigid here in Florida. It's been mid-30s. It's like iguanas falling out of trees weather.
I saw that there were falling iguanas.
No. Is it like they're playing possum or are they just dead?
No,
they're just
like
frozen.
They freeze because they're cold-blooded. And so it gets cold enough because they're invasive species. So they're here from even more tropical places. So they freeze and it's like they literally go stiff and they fall out of the trees. And then the newspapers have to constantly remind people, please don't take them inside. Because
do they thaw out and like come back?
Yeah, like eventually they
reanimate.
just and they
They
take
do
back off.
not. Really?
Mhm.
So they just kind of freeze, hibernate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name's head? Who is that said they were going to freeze their head?
Oh.
Richard Branson? Is he the one?
Maybe somebody said they were going to freeze their head. It might
Why?
be a movie. I don't know.
Oh.
Like cryogenically freeze yourself so that when the technology exists, you can come back.
Yeah. Okay.
The iguanas have already
I
figured
thought you
it
meant
out.
he wanted an iguana head. I was like, what?
No.
He seems like he could have as many as he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just come down
It's an odd thing to want, Richard Branson. But
bring a broom. You can just sweep them up off
Well,
the
that's
streets
kind of
of
what I'm
Florida.
picturing. If they're invasive, this seems like a good time to just gather them up and like ship them back.
Get rid of them. Just
I
get
don't
rid of
know.
them.
hilarious. They all wake up and are like,
They're like,
wait
"Where-
a minute.
Where am I?
Where's my nest? Where's my
Well,
family?
I had a really good laugh because like I get the push notifications on my phone from like the local newspaper, and it was like 5 tips for staying warm in Florida with this winter whatever they called it. And I started laughing and I was like, I'll give you 5 tips. It's like, you don't even have to pay me to write that article. How about buy a pair of pants? How about put on a jacket? Like, how about wear some socks with those Crocs? I'm like, I'm not really sure why they feel like they have to dish out tips to stay warm. But apparently down here, it just eludes people. So
Yeah, Floridians just don't know.
they don't know. They freak the hell out. But I'm gonna make another confession. We started this off with a confession.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Double confession.
Here's another confession.
Hmm?
I refuse to turn on my heat.
What?
So
Oh,
it's
I
been
don't like the heat either.
30 degrees the last 3 nights, and I refuse to turn on the heat in my house. I'm like, kids, you just pretend like we're still living in New England. I'm like, layer up.
What?
Because we live in Florida, and I feel like
You shouldn't
I
have to
should
use
never
it.
have to turn it on.
Oh, well,
So
I
I've
have to
dug
turn
in.
on the heat because of the paint and the brain damage. I have to open the windows at night.
Turn on a fan.
We have 2 fans and our bedroom door open, and it still is so fumey. So we have to open a couple of windows, and
Oh,
it's
man.
it's chilly. It's chilly, but today it's very rainy. It has stopped raining for maybe 14 minutes
Maybe,
today,
yeah.
and it's just like boom, 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 raining.
I have a word for you though, just one.
What?
Hotel.
Oh,
Why wouldn't you just like make a staycation out of this? And,
no.
like-
Okay, you've met my
Just gonna
dogs.
eat my brain.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, what would
How
they
are
do
the dogs?
without
Are they
you?
high?
What? They are
Yeah.
not high because they are not allowed up here. In fact, I just right before we started airing, I had to go out there because I thought one of the dogs had gotten in because I heard like paper rustling, like because there's of course paper taped to the floor and it's just a
Right.
disaster. But no, Daisy is out in the hallway because there's a piece of tape and paper that go under the door, and she's biting it off the floor. So now I'm probably gonna have like a little divot in the hardwood floor for Daisy. See, I can't speak anymore. Oh, it's so sad. I shouldn't have drank the wine on top of this because I really am just like, whew.
Now you
But-
can't drive yourself to the hospital later when you gotta go for
Oh,
asphyxiation.
I know. Well, you know what the
You will
problem
have
is.
to call and hope an ambulance comes.
I was telling Missy about this earlier, and Lee, I think, I don't know, or maybe I was just talking to myself about how the paint stores are out of paint now.
Yeah, we talked about it when we recorded. Yes.
Because they're missing certain ingredients to make their paint. So our
Yeah.
Benjamin Moore store,
It's hard to say.
Benjamin Moore store didn't have any semi-gloss, the base, just white base. So you couldn't make anything that was with a light colored base, which is any
So
trim,
weird.
any trim.
All of
So
them,
I had
yeah.
to go drive like a gazillion miles across town to find a place that had the semi-gloss, but they didn't have satin. It's just a weird thing. But it made me think because I have painted a lot of things. Every house I have painted pretty much. Oh,
I heard
was
a
that a
bird.
bird? I heard
Where?
a bird.
I
Oh.
heard a bird too.
You're probably
Yes.
just so used
Yeah.
to birds.
Yeah,
I
we
think
were
it
like,
was
"Oh, bird."
Birdie. Yeah.
Oh,
I
very
heard a
nice.
dog bark at the same time. So I'm like, man, Suzanne's brain is really far gone if she's listening to this dog and saying, "Oh, it's a bird." She's gonna go dial 811 later and wonder why 911 doesn't pick up.
I know. Oh, okay. But along those same lines, I started thinking, because I painted a lot of stuff in my life, and these are hitting me a little more than usual. Granted, it could be just a lot of other things, but part of me is like, maybe it's not quite the semi-gloss. Maybe they didn't have the ingredient to make
or
the
not
proper
quality
semi-gloss, and they were just like, how about a little of this asbestos, or like, how about, I don't know what they might just be making do with like
Right,
kind of
it might
close
not
to
be
whatever
quality
ingredients
stuff.
are. I know, because there's usually the primer's the nasty stuff, but this trim paint it's knocking me out. So yeah, I don't know. I don't.
I'm
Sorry, Benjamin Moore.
sorry.
Don't sue me for defamation of your product.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry you don't have an art degree, because you would be high on turpentine fumes and oil paint and all of that. I get one whiff and I'm like, oh, I'm home, baby.
Oh, back in my good old.
I'm
Well,
home.
I used to do that in a woodworking class. My favorite class ever was my woodworking. Whenever we'd stain stuff, we would just
I love
we
the
would
way
just
stain
pour
smells.
turpentine over our hands. That's how we would wash our hands.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just like rub the turpentine. It's just like totally fine. No
Then
problem
wash
at
your
all.
face with it. Really good for your pores.
So good for you. Oh my God. How did any of us survive? Actually, someone did not, their finger did not survive that class.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, every
right.
shop teacher is kind of got, like one nub somewhere.
Yes, this was a student, but it was just the tip.
Just a tip. It's just
Get your squishy out and show us. Where was it cut off?
Right there. His eye fell off.
I will never get over that squishy.
Do you know the story behind that, Abby?
I do know the story behind that. And I cannot tell you how many times I've gone to buy the same squishies, but thought I will mortify my children. They don't even like it when I wear my t-shirt. I think you know about this t-shirt, the one that says "No Country for Old Men," but it's a big uterus that looks like a steer head.
Yep.
I think I tried to get you to buy the matching pants.
You probably did.
But I like to wear that, and
your kids won't
like
do
that.
it.
No.
Oh, no, my poor kids. No, yeah. I mean, I did not try to buy that. I tried to buy just some
Something
squishy
else,
animals.
right?
Yeah,
they were just supposed to go to the teachers like
Yeah, it was a little prize box for my son's
Box.
kindergarten class. Oh, no, yeah, no pun intended. But it was no, I literally was like hours away from just handing this giant bag to a kindergarten teacher to be like, give these away to their students if they do good things, until luckily my son was like, that one looks like a penis. I was like, well, because it is. And then he's like, can I have it? But no,
it's mom's.
Oh my God. But you know what? I had another friend like a year later after that, and she runs a preschool. She's like, it happened again. Luckily, one of the parents found it, but it just gets, I guess in the production line, there's some kittens, there's some bunny rabbits and ducks, and then there's some penises.
There's some penises.
Just got wrapped in there. Oh my God.
Not everybody's as uptight as Americans. So
I
they're just coming
know.
from someplace that's a little freer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite. You know what? Talk about writing. You spend how many gazillion hours writing like the perfect post or the perfect book or this piece that I've been submitting that I spent all this research and stuff on. The post that I wrote about that thing, it was like my Amazon review of of my squishy penis. And it literally was just my Amazon review of the squishy penis. And that thing was like pop sugar, and it was like, it went viral and all this stuff. I was like, I didn't even proofread it. I just was like,
I have things to say about real stuff.
Yes, I want to talk to you about like the demoralization of the stay-at-home moms and their identity crisis of going back to work. But all you want to hear about is my squishy penis.
That's right. My Amazon review.
I know. But no, so you've got your books. How many you're on number 4? Is that what you said?
I'm on number 4, and I'm hoping this is the one, because what they don't tell you about when you write fiction books is that the debut novel that you see that comes out on the shelves is probably not that writer's first book.
Yes.
And we don't know that. And so you kind of wake up one day and you think, oh, I'm going to write a book. This is going to be easy. And then you realize it's not. 5 years later, I'm still trudging away thinking, maybe this will be the one. I'm so optimistic every time, though. I'm like,
You
this
have
is
to
it.
be,
This is
though.
going to be the one.
Oh my
And-
God. But you are so not alone. And that's part of the happy writer community too, I'm sure, is just being reminded that like, this is not a sign of your writing abilities. This is not a sign of your ideas not being good. It's just like 17 things in the universe have to
Yes.
align perfectly in order for it to just.
This is the reality of it. And when it comes true, I mean, this is the other thing, when it finally happens, because I feel like it's going to happen.
It is going to happen.
It's just, it's not going to be because of luck, though. I mean, it's going to be because of hard work and because you don't give up and you just keep trying. And
but then they're all going to be like, oh, Abby Mathews, an overnight success.
Yeah.
Be like, go listen to my podcast.
There's no overnight about this.
Oh my goodness. But no, and same thing. I mean, my husband's the same way. I don't know which book he's on, but he does it for the love of it. And I mean, he is definitely a talented writer. He's won the Texas Conference thriller category for 2 years in a row, all the pitch mad stuff. And it's just having to find like the perfect agent that wants exactly what you want, while the market is also in demand of exactly what you want. And it's not that it's not going to happen. It's just all these things have to match up. And I mean, the fact that one of the top book coaches in the world coached you through your first book, I mean, tells you that it is high quality. And I mean, I listened to every episode and she was like legitimately in love with your pages and really excited about them and stuff. So I even think it's not like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have the one that's success. I think they're all going to find a life somewhere once one does.
Yeah, I think that eventually I'll go back and I'll pick up those ideas or those manuscripts. Like I actually just, so the one that I wrote before this was about a little pirate girl. It was kind of like Pippi Longstocking meets Dr. Dolittle. So those were like my two comps. Yeah. And I freaking loved this book. And I sent it off to an editor actually who works for Hachette Publishing. But so she was in the British market. But I liked some of the books that she had edited for and, et cetera, et cetera. But I really thought this book was super solid. Like the plot held together. I thought the world building was great. I had all these pirates that weren't typical pirates. They were like different. They were like these eco warriors, but they were also like super funny. And they were like a little more gentlemanly. They weren't like scoundrelly, but they looked like pirates and they were on the sea and they were causing mayhem just in a very different way. And so anyway, she edited my manuscript and she came back and she told me a couple of things that were really interesting. She was like, first of all, I don't understand how you have managed to nail some really high craft things while simultaneously being totally oblivious of all your genre conventions. And then she just like started tearing me down, right?
Oh, I thought this was going to be a really nice compliment.
Oh no. Like, I mean, she basically said to me, look, this book doesn't fulfill your genre requirements, but it's really well written. She's like, you can do this. To fix the things in this book, it's going to make it a different story. She's like, I don't see how you could fix it without making it a different story. And she said, but I'm going to be really harsh and like basically tear it all down because I think you're good enough to make it if you keep going. And she's like, and if you're not going to keep going, then good, get out of the way for everybody else.
Wow.
What? Oh, I'm not ready for this business. I'm not ready for this business. This is why it's taken me 3.5 years to do my proposal that's never going to get submitted.
Here's where I'm going with it, right? So she tells me like, okay, one of the things that she said that was against genre conventions is when you write for a middle grade audience, you have to have predictability. And by predictability, she doesn't mean that you have to be able to figure out what comes next. What she meant was if you present a book to children that is about pirates and then your pirates don't do anything piratical. You have not given them what they want, and they're going to put your book down, right? So that like really sat with me, and that really bothered me because I wanted to write pirates that were different.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I mean, you were talking about it, and I'm like, oh, I love these different pirates.
They were so cool, right? And or I mean, I thought they were cool. And there was a pirate rat, and there was a pirate. Like I had all these cool like things that I loved about it. There was a one-eyed bald eagle in the book that was based on like the one-eyed bald eagle at the wildlife sanctuary. And the wildlife sanctuary told me I could have him to use for my school visits.
Oh my
and
God.
I could take him to school because he was the one-eyed, and he had the same name. I kept his name and everything. So it was going to work beautifully. I was so excited about this book. But don't you know, I think it's HBO is coming out with a new show that comes out next month or in March. What's his name? It's like Taiki Wakika or whatever.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah. It's called Our Flag Means Death. And they're gentlemen pirates who are not piratical at all. And
if her name is attached to this at all, you can sue.
And I was like, oh my gosh. But you know what? Here's what that did for me. I thought, good. See, now it's been done. And now I'm not the first one.
And now it's a convention.
Now it's a convention. And guess what? Now I have a fucking comp.
Yep.
And so I was like, boom, mic drop. I'm going to revisit that story with my pirates that aren't pirates.
I mean, I understand that there's certain rules and conventions and whatever, but I don't know. I mean, and then there's like someone who becomes this breakout hit because they broke all the rules and everybody's like, ooh, how brave. It's like, no, everybody's doing that. It's just somebody let them get past the gatekeeper. Like there's a lot of brave people out there. It's just nobody will like let them get past. It's so frustrating.
Wow.
So frustrating.
I can say
that's why
this,
it takes years.
The Tahiki Wakika. What's his name? How do you say it?
Is it Taika? Taika, right? Taika
Wakika. I don't know. He's beautiful though. Whoever he is. I really enjoy his work. I just can't say his name. But I'll tell you what, he's earned those stripes. Like, I mean, if you pull up his IMDb, and I also looked it up, he's like a year younger than me. I'm like, what the hell, dude? Look at your amazing like resume. I'm like, what do I have to my name? I'm like,
oh,
that makes me crazy.
No. First of all, he probably has not raised two beautiful girls and like half of a rainforest of birds.
I'm gonna look him up. If he's got birds and babies, you have to eat your words.
Game on.
No, it's just not even a fair comparison. We could drive ourselves
and I feel like
crazy
I've reached
doing
the
that.
age where almost everybody is younger than me now. Like, I mean, that's an exaggeration, obviously, but like it used to be you'd Google people and you'd be like, oh yeah, like they're older than I am, of course. Like so often I Google and I'm like, oh crap, look at what they've accomplished. It's a weird mind game that I don't know that we need to play.
Okay, but you know the most messed up part of watching, we just finished The Sopranos because we're 20 years behind, but it was so funny watching it. And they'd be like, oh, Tony Soprano or all these guys who I'm assuming are like 75 years old. And they're like, oh, I'm turning 50 next month. And I'm like, what? It's so bad.
Oh, the Married with Children. Do you remember that show?
Oh, yeah.
Honest to God, I think they were like supposed to be our age when they were in that show, doing that show. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not Al Bundy's age. Like, I don't have to undo my pants and stick my hand down it after I eat a meal, do I? But then I was like, well, yeah, maybe I do kind of sometimes.
Oh, I don't stick my hand on there, but sometimes I need to undo my pants.
All the time. I'm in my flannels that are even tighter than they used to be at Christmas. No, I would do anything to be able to fit into a pair of Peg Bundy pants. That's my goal. Peg Bundy is my goal.
There you go.
That's going to be the new T-shirt I'm going to make for you. Squad Peg Bundy. Peg Bundy.
Yes, aspiring Peg
Hashtag
Bundy. That's
goals.
my goal.
Just the pants.
Hair. I can see you in that hair.
Oh, I don't have enough hair to do that.
She had nice boobs too. They were kind of the Madonna. sort of thing going on, I think.
Like
Yeah.
conical, is that a word? Cone?
It is now.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, what haven't we covered about your amazing life? We got the podcast, we got your books, we got your happy writer, we got your birds.
All right, I'm going to tie it all together with one last story.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. So you know I have pigs, right? So
that's what I was going to ask. Like, I wanted you to tell us about more animals. So
yes, beyond the birds.
Yeah. We have 3 not so little pigs. They're probably at least 1,000 pounds of pig.
That's your next book, 3
They're
not
huge.
so little pigs.
Actually, my next book is going to be like The Borrowers meets Charlotte's Web meets The Dukes of Hazzard. I've already got it planned.
What?
So I've got these 3 giant ass pigs in my yard, right? So I finished Miss Shelved, the book that I wrote with Jenny on the Mom Rights podcast.
Yes.
And we wrote my query letter. We got everything done. And so I sent my first batch of like 5 queries out, right? My parents were here. They were visiting. So I had a bottle of champagne and I popped it and I did not share it. And so here I've had a lot to drink and I hear someone honking in my front yard, right? So I go running out and there's a neighbor who I don't know on the other side of my gate because we have a livestock fence that goes around the whole perimeter and we have a gate over the driveway.
Uh-huh.
And the guy's behind the gate and he's yelling, "Your pigs are out. Your pigs are out." And I was like, what? So I took off across the yard and I went run into the pig pen where I look and we have a big privacy fence along that side of the yard. And like the goddamn Muppets, there's a pig-sized hole in the wooden fence. So I jump into the pig pen and I launch my body through that hole like I'm Gonzo or something. And I come out on the other side and I'm like, okay, left or right? Which way did they go?
A pig,
I'm like, if I had a divining rod for swine or divining rod of swine. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go right. And so I zag right and I look and believe it or not, my pigs can hear me because I'm calling for them and they're really smart and they know their names and they come to me when I call them.
Yeah.
So I'm yelling. It's named after my kid's kindergarten teacher. So I'm like, Mr. E, Mr. E. And I'm like so pissed I'm using his full name. I'm like, Michael Economos, get your ass over here. So my pigs come down the street and they're coming and they're so excited to see me. And they take one look at me and they think she's got food. So they run into me, to my bladder, and I pee my pants. So now I'm standing drunk in the middle of the road. I have peed my pants.
But you found your pigs.
Loose pigs who are not following me because they realize I don't have food. And I'm chasing them drunkenly down the street. Well, I have this poor, sweet neighbor. So I have one neighbor that lives across from me that I keep yelling, Monica, I need a banana. I need a banana. I'm waiting for her to like hear my cry for help. My dad comes running out with a goddamn umbrella. Like that's going to somehow
what? They can't eat an umbrella.
coerce these pigs to come back in. And he's flipping it like this, thinking if he opens it up and down, it's going to like scare him back into the yard. Right. So I've got my dad with the umbrella on one side of me. The pigs are over here. I have a neighbor who like putters up in his Toyota Corolla, right? And he basically uses it like a herding dog. So we manage between my dad and the umbrella and the car and me to get one pig back through the hole. Okay. Where Sean is waiting with like an old pallet or something that he's like hammering back into the fence. And the other 2 pigs were chasing down the street. I get one into the first gate. The other one, I get to go into the second gate by our second driveway. We managed to get both pigs in. Oh my God. And I was like, I just gave up. I was I will never forget the first day that I ever sent a query because that is what happened. I didn't even get to enjoy it. I was just like,
oh my God. They knew you needed a distraction.
That kind of makes me second guess my wish to also have a pig someday.
No, they are truly terrible pets, but my fridge is always clean because I don't do leftovers. The
You
pigs
just
eat
give
it
me the
all.
pigs.
They eat it all. It's awesome.
Oh my God. I wanted a pig because there used to be some veterinarian show with Sally Struthers on it in the 80s. Do you remember that one?
No.
Okay, we're going to Google that one and put it in the show notes. Sally Struthers was the veterinarian?
So it was it was like a sitcom or something.
Let me go to
yeah.
IMDb.
Oh, yeah.
I thought maybe it was like a
No, it wasn't like
like a Jack
like a
Hanna.
reality
Yeah.
show. They didn't do those in the 80s.
It wasn't. Yeah, she would either go and get money for children in other nations, or she
Right.
would
Or
help
she
pigs.
was on this.
No,
I
she
don't remember this show.
no, it was an actual sitcom,
And I
and then
watched a lot
she
of
had
TV as a
someone
kid.
brought in a pig, and I thought for sure I needed a pig, but now not. Now
Maybe not.
definitely not. That was also I went to one of our neighbors once and offered her like $50 because she had a spare field off the side of her house, and I decided I was going to put a horse there. And she wasn't using it anyway. And so I was like, I had these big plans. And my mom's like, yeah, sure. Go over and ask Miss McGrew if
Knock
you can
yourself out.
buy her a field for $50.
Buy her field.
And put a horse there. She did not say yes.
Charmkins? The Charmkins. All right.
No,
I'm trying to hit the 80s.
Charmkins.
Gloria. Archie
Gloria.
Bunker's place.
Gloria.
Gloria?
No, was it Gloria? Look at
I
the-
remember
Let me
Gloria.
click on it. It's a spinoff of All in the Family.
Was she
Featuring
about?
that's
Gloria
why I
and
remember.
her son Joey. She got separate. Yep, she's gotten a job in a veterinarian's office. So
There you go.
Mystery solved.
Gloria.
I
almost-
remember Gloria. I don't remember her working in a veterinarian's office at all.
I don't know. It may have just been for this very special episode where they had to save the pig. I don't even know.
Awesome.
But yes, I was very moved by it. It stuck with me for what, 40 years?
I mean, yeah, sure.
Oh my God, Abby. How are you? Between the pigs running into your bladder and all the work that you're doing, this is your year. I think
Yep.
this is your year. Yes,
If
I'm
nothing
cheersing
else,
to it. Cheers.
mine and Chris's podcast is going to take off like.
Oh
hot
my
potatoes.
God. You will have a devoted listener in me.
Me too. I know it's bedtime at your house, so
It
I
is.
appreciate you being
And
here.
you have a late night tomorrow. Is it something that we can direct people to? The 3 people that are
No,
watching?
it's actually it's a mastermind. It's a small group mastermind. It's our first one. It's launching. So we've got 6 people in the first one, and we're going to kind of give it a beta run and see how it goes. This first one is all about planning your book, but not in such a way that like you come to us and we say, oh, here's this formula or here's this template, and you fill it in and then you have an outline. Like it doesn't work for everybody. And so the idea is we're asking questions to help each writer figure out what they need to write this book. And so highly individualized sort of process, I guess, because everybody's got a different entry point into fiction. So, some character, some world building, some people like plot, some people start with theme. I always seem to start with theme because that's what Jenny kind of taught me. And so we're just kind of trying to help people find a way, because I think you do have to have a plan. Like you do have to have all the pieces and you do have to have some sort of plan. Everybody's plan is a little different, but you kind of have to have a direction and know where you're going if you want to do it at all quickly. So,
Right.
So what's the best way if someone was like, ooh, I wish I was in that. So this is your beta one. If there's going to be a next one rolled out, what's the best way for people just to come sign up for Happy Writer, get the newsletter, that kind of thing? And
you're in a welcome sequence. Usually we use Brian's podcast email newsletter list as like our Happy Writer list too. So there's a lot of crossover, but if you're in the community and you just reach out to me and tell me, hey, I'm kind of interested in that. Next time you run it, I'd like to be a part. Then, I'll make sure you want to do it. You can do it with me. Yeah.
I do want to do it.
Missy has a book in a drawer.
I have a book in a drawer, in a metaphorical drawer.
Tell us about it.
I'll tell you about it in a little while.
Okay.
But I've really struggled with the rewrite part of it.
Yeah.
A lot. And so I need some help. Like I know I need a coach, but I don't know that I'm ready for the full big coaching. So when you were talking earlier, I was like, oh, I think this
I got
is
a
me.
program for you, girl. I got a program for you.
Okay. Yeah,
I
we
think
need to
this
do
is
that.
me because I'm not quite to that place of like, here's my finished manuscript.
Yeah.
Help me. I'm kind of in this messy, murky middle place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're
Abby.
very familiar with that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
place.
Abby knows that place.
We are familiar. We
She
can
has
help
been
you
there.
through.
Now, okay, I know you need to get going, but I'm so entranced by what is behind you. Is this like a
I know.
story outline? Is this wallpaper? Is this
This is Hiding My Mess. So it's from my Buy Nothing Facebook group. I got a room divider.
Yes.
And it was ugly. So I painted it white. And then I bought paper, like wallpaper off of Spoonflower. They are the catalogs, card catalogs from banned books.
Oh my God, what a perfect way to wrap up with the banned
love it.
books.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Because it's my secret, not so secret now, third confession of the night. I want to be on the banned books list.
Nice.
That's
Ooh.
like my ultimate goal. Some people want to be in the New York Times. I'm like, forget that. I want to
Just
be
wanna
on the
be
banned
banned.
books list. Mhm.
Not well,
do.
you know what? These days is not very hard. I mean, I don't know. I'm just
No,
so
I'm
disgusted.
surprised today. It makes me so mad.
I know. I posted a thing today about someone had done like a tweet, and I just shared their tweet, and it's gone bonkers on my Facebook. But it was basically like kids have access to the internet and to TikTok. Like books are not the problem, first of all, and they were not the problem anyway. But I mean, you think that this is, I'm so done with humans. I'm so done with humans right now. And I'm supporting all these books. And then, of course, I had one person comment on there. She's like, well, if you read with your children, they will become lifelong readers. It's like, that's not what the point of this
Not the point of this.
I love where you're going, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Kids don't do what we tell them to anyway. So the best way to get them to read a book is to GD ban it sometimes.
Right.
I'm like, let's
what's
use
in
that
there?
psychology.
Oh,
I
my
follow
God.
Under the Desk News on
Oh, I
TikTok. don't know
love
if you-
that one. Yeah.
so great. And today the message was, go ahead and ban the books. And at first I was like, wait, what? But the point was books have been banned going back forever. There's been a list of, books that the Catholic Church told Catholics they couldn't read, and it goes on. And it just makes those books
More popular.
read even more widely. Like
Mhm.
banning books doesn't take the books off the shelves, and it doesn't stop you from getting your hands on the books. It's just so stupid.
It's just so, and there's the same people who are mad because like Brene Brown wasn't going to do any new podcasts because Seth
Yes.
Rogen was being such a D-bag and spreading anti-vax conspiracy stuff. And they're like, you're censoring him. Or like, what?
Seth
You're
Rogen
trying to
or
get
Joe Rogan?
Oh, did I say Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen.
You know what? I didn't.
It's our
you
fake
may have.
news.
I heard Joe Rogan. Like I knew who you were talking about. So
Again, I just cannot emphasize enough how many paint fumes are in the system.
I'm a little worried about you.
Okay, not Seth Rogen. Sorry again, Seth Rogen. Okay, so who do I need to apologize now to? Benjamin Moore Paint Company.
Seth
And
Rogen.
Seth
Seth
Rogen.
Yeah.
No, the other guy, the Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
But the same people who are complaining about him being censored, which he's not.
Want to ban books.
Other people are kind of censoring themselves and just saying we're not going to be a part of that platform. But then they're the same people who are like, get rid of Shel Silverstein. Like, I don't even know. It's just, Anyway, yeah, I know you feel me on this, but I love that.
Totally.
That is amazing. And I need to get one of those for behind me.
I was just thinking, this is the solution to all of our problems.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. But I was really hoping it was all the Post-its and I could zoom in and figure out what your next book was about. I thought it was going to be like, oh,
No.
there goes my plans for the rest of the night.
I mean, that seriously solves a lot of like spatial issues in my life. So
I
I
know.
know. I like it until the dog walks behind me and knocks it over. That has happened before.
Then we can
Into
just
your
see
head,
all
Then
your
you
mess.
see everything back there.
Oh, I love it.
It's so
No, all you can see is my other weird stuff here. Oh, that was the other thing that came up in our recording today is the fact that everything you see here is at least like 20 years old. And so A, they don't need to be here, and B, I need some new clothes.
I feel like you're just softening to dampen the sound. You're supposed to be recording in a soft space anyway. I assumed that's what that was for. I'm going to give you credit.
Just a bunch of crappy clothes to buffer the sound.
We are surrounded by sound dampening for sure, but it is just all our old clothes.
The lady's going to go through our closets. We're going to be like, I'm sorry, I cannot get rid of that. It really dampens the sound.
That's very fluffy. I need to keep it.
It's vintage now.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to keep it.
I found some velvet pants as I was going through here.
Are they Peg Bundys?
They could be. They would be if I tried to put them on right now. I'm sure they used to be baggy, but now they're not.
I don't own anything baggy anymore. I don't want to talk about it.
On that note, I'm going to go have some dinner and ice cream.
Nice.
No ice cream here, but I'm going to have dinner.
Well, thank you, ladies.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on. I know we had the longest text thread. Actually, we were treating Facebook comments on a post as if it was our personal text thread. And it had gotten to be like 20. I was like, maybe we should take this offline. Well, it wasn't even offline. It was just to a text thread. And then she's like, why don't we just talk, get a Zoom
like real
where we can actually see each other's faces? And I was like, let's do better. We're gonna tape it next time we talk. So
we're gonna talk and share it with everybody else we know.
Yes.
All right. Well, Missy, we've got our own talk that will we'll hook up about books.
Yeah,
later,
you guys have a bunch of hooking up to do, and apparently you're going to hook up with my husband, and then I'll.
That's right. Don't spread that rumor.
Anybody who just jumped in is going to be like, "What kind of podcast?"
You've already spent the night at his house.
That's right, I
have. You've had breakfast with him. Okay.
Oh, ladies, thank you.
Let's get you to bed, Mrs. Toaster. All right. It was so good to see you.
See you guys.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Mom and podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show today. And if you know someone else who could benefit from today's episode, be sure to share it with them. Also, please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find links to all the things we discussed today in the show notes over at our website, momandpodcast.com, with the AND spelled out. In between shows, you can find us at the socials, including our private Mom and Community Facebook group. You can find links to the group, all of our socials, and our questions and comments section over at our website, momandpodcast.com. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you so much. Now go out there and make your ellipses count.